What is up, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Browns Morning Brew. I don't have any coffee with me today, but I've already had coffee because I've been up since 5:45 this morning.
5:45. My wife has been up since 6 a.m.
Man,
Not by choice.
I would have taken 6 all day. An extra 15 minutes.
Not by choice. The kids decided to wait. Well, one kid decided to get up at 6 a.m. today and wake everybody up because they were scared.
Yeah.
But, that's what kids do. Sometimes they keep you on your toes. Then you have to adjust to life, being crabby all day.
Or adjust to the trumpets in the middle of the night as well.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife blowing her nose at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it sounds like, we were just talking about this before the show, how my wife, I know my wife is up when I hear her blowing her nose because it sounds like the trumpet of the Lord. And I'm not exaggerating. It literally sounds like someone's playing a trumpet in my upstairs bathroom. I was telling Mike one time I thought it was the Lord coming, taking me away. I'm not ready, Lord. I'm not ready. But it's just my wife. Just my wife in the bathroom.
See the bathroom light. Oh, no. But, yeah, we got some stuff to talk about today. There's been some updates about the Cleveland Browns Stadium, and it's kind of iffy as whether or not it's going to happen or what's going to happen at all, because as of right now, it seems like excuse me, everything would have to happen by June. Everything would be set in stone. And with the contract negotiation and the city of Cleveland against the Haslams battling each other right now, it doesn't seem like June is a possibility.
Yeah, it seems like the Haslams might have to dig deeper in their pocketbooks to kind of pay this off under the table, saying, hey, what can we do here, Cleveland, to kind of smooth things over so we can get this up and running quicker than anticipated. I think the Haslams got ahead of themselves, and maybe even me thinking this is going to happen regardless, but it seems like there's some money issues happening where maybe they're trying to find some extra funds. Well, we'll get into it.
It's weird. I'll read the first part of this here. It says, the Cleveland Browns say that they're still looking for $1.2 billion in public financing for an enclosed stadium in Brook Park, and they have not given up, on convincing the state and Cuyahoga County to issue bonds to bridge that gap. So you got money, but you're asking for money publicly. When I heard that there was going to be no public negotiations, honestly, I thought this was not coming out of the public's pocket whatsoever to begin with when the negotiations started. Now we're asking for funds.
Yeah, they probably did their budget and they realized, yeah, we're $1.2 billion short, so we're going to ask for some help here.
Yeah.
like it's hey, can I borrow a couple bucks for a drink? But they're asking for $1.2 billion from the public. Seems kind of steep, and I know the argument is I've seen the argument all week about how people are saying it's not worth it. The Browns team sucks. Win before you can move, and all the typical fandom stuff. And the thing is, like for me, if you move the stadium to Brook Park, it's going to make. I mean, selfishly, Strongsville, where I am, the neighborhoods around it, Strongsville, Millburg, Brook Park, even some type of West Park area, those areas will make money off that stadium as far as restaurants. Even Haslam made it known that there's some enclosed surrounding development around that as far as apartments, office, hotels, restaurants, retail. All that will grow with it also, which will bring in revenue for the surrounding areas, which makes sense. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, that's not true. Well, I was just telling Mike beforehand, how is that not true if those same people are arguing the reason why they don't want it to leave downtown Cleveland is because the businesses downtown will be impacted. So to me, if you don't think it's going to help bring in revenue for the suburbs around it, then the argument that it doesn't bring, my argument is that then it doesn't bring money into downtown then, because if you can't have one without the other, in my opinion.
Exactly. James says that's a lot of money to be panhandling for. And I mean, it's right.
Panhandling.
It's true, and there's some, we're going to get into more of it, how it works out. But
they had a sign like, I'll work for free money for the stadium. Got Haslam in his sign out there. Yeah, there's a lot of money. James said, too, I kind of think Miles won't be leaving until next year. Yeah, well, maybe we can touch on that too if we have time. But
Yeah, we'll get to that at the end for sure.
yeah, so yeah, Mike DeWine, House Bill 96. Now, full disclosure, I haven't really read up fully on this, so I don't know too much. But he says calls for Ohio sports betting, which is a good. This is a good idea. Now that I look into it, and I see what he's doing. This is a good idea. You want to know why? Because I don't sports bet, so this is not going to impact me at all. This is like the cigarette tax,
Syntax,
like syntax, like all that stuff. Like do that. I mean, that doesn't impact everybody. But sports betting tax to 40%. It's 20% today. So he's saying raise it 20 more percent. The DeWine administration believes that the state's take would increase by 130 million to 180 million a year. That money could go toward new stadium and renovating sports faculties and youth sports programs.
Yeah.
Great idea, Mike DeWine, not just because of the stadium, but if you have it to overflow into youth programs, which is what we need in it. Like hypothetically, Cleveland public schools, a lot of that suffer because there are a lot of kids. I mean, they're freaking uniforms stink. And by the way, the Browns have been sewing into inner city Cleveland sports programs for years now. That's something to also hang your hat on as far as the ownership here.
Right. James says, I always talk about getting rich from playing the Ohio lottery and betting on sports, but never do. And it's funny he says that because I got into betting last year for like 2 months, and I bet on some weird like 7-leg parlay NBA game. And I'm not a huge fan of basketball, but that won me like $200 or something, like $180, I think it was. And I was, you know what, I'm done. I'm cutting my losses. Well, my gain, I guess, and then kind of stopped after that. But
yeah, I tried it for when it first opened up here, and they gave you that free week or free game or free $5, whatever.
$5 and
again, and my wife's like, "Did you win?" I'm like, "No, I suck at this stuff. This is why I don't do it." I don't look too deep as people like, oh, they get deep into it. Like me, it's just like I normally just bet stupidly, so I don't like to waste money on that.
So back into wasting money on the stadium, Cuyahoga County Executive Chris Ronayne has balked at this proposal. He doubled down on a skepticism Thursday afternoon. He says, it's a Hail Mary and we don't see it. He said during on-the-camera interview, we don't see the dog hunting. We see ourselves putting taxpayers at risk with this Brook Park plan. And that's kind of a solid argument considering the way everything's going right now. Brook Park taxes are already somewhat high from what I hear, and now they're going to get higher. There's a downfall. Don't get me wrong, I want the dome, but I think Brook Park is such a small city with plenty of businesses, so they're getting tax dollars. You know what I mean? It's just this is going to put a damper on people that live in Brook Park and make Brook Park more of a dominant city, I guess, like if you will. I mean, Cleveland's different. Their tax bracket's different. I know it's still Cuyahoga County, but things could change. That city and even the city you live in, neighboring cities.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, I lived in Brook Park before I moved to Strongsville. Brook Park sales tax range 8% right now. Cuyahoga County, yeah.
Yeah, I'm at 6.5 out here.
Yeah. I lived in Brook Park for me and my wife got married. We moved there. We were there for maybe 5 years ish. Don't quote me on that. And it needs a new pump of life in Brook Park. And the reason why we moved was because of that reason. There's businesses are closing shop. They're moving in and they realize, we can't maintain here. It's not busy here. So they leave. So yes, the tax may hurt them long in the short term, right? But even Jimmy, as a businessman and as somebody who, basic knowledge, if you bring in something nice to a older neighborhood that needs money, like a stadium, eventually businesses are going to come in. So that's going to offset it over time, the high taxes. So yeah, right now, that does suck for Brook Park if they get those hit with the high taxes. But if you can bring in something as such as a huge revenue, like a huge stadium that can bring in concerts, that can bring in, Final Four games or even college bowl games, like that will help offset all that and bring in money back into Brook Park. Now, I don't know how they work out that deal, but I think long term it can actually help them.
Yeah, obviously the Brook Park is going to get 422 million, but they're also going to have an admission tax, income tax, and parking tax. Property tax is going to go up, and bed tax, which means every time you go to a hotel, you're going to pay a whole nother tax for that. Through the county, you're going to pay a bed tax, sales tax, property tax, and a sin tax. Again, that's bed taxes whenever you go to a hotel, or even rental car fees are going to go up as well, because obviously people getting off at the airport, they're going to rent cars.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's going to happen, and some people like me I'm not going to notice it, but people like you, Angel, will notice the increase in taxes on things.
Yeah, I would, as a taxpayer in this area, I would gladly pay for it if it means my property value will then be more desirable. And then when I'm 65, 70, and I want to move to a warmer state, my property will be more valuable. You see how that works? Like right now, my property isn't as valuable or isn't as appeasing to the eye because it's Strongsville. Now, Strongsville, in my opinion, is a desirable area. I'm around a lot of restaurants, a lot of hotels, a lot of things around here. It's good. That's why I moved here. It's kid friendly. But if you add a stadium 10 minutes from here with new hotels, new shopping, a new area for entertainment, it makes this area more desirable. It makes Brick Park more desirable to live in. So people are going to Brick Park will be the new downtown in 10 to 15, 20 years, where people want to move down in Brick Park outside of Middleburg, and they can even filter out to the West Park area. Even if you want to go a little further, North Olmsted, and then you got Fairview Park. See all these, and the reason why I know that is because downtown is booming right now. And the beneficiary area of that is Lakewood. Lakewood is booming. The property taxes are high. Why? Because not too many people who can afford downtown then move to the neighboring areas such as Lakewood or sometime East Cleveland, even in that Cleveland Tremont area. So, I mean, it impacts the whole thing, the whole area. So that's why it's like you pay a little bit now, but you get the benefit of it later.
Right. And we all know that everything's going to take time. The Browns are racing against the clock right now. Their lease on Cleveland's Huntington Bank Field ends after the 2028 football season, and they hope to start playing in Brook Park in 2029. It does take at least 3 years to build a new stadium. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, everything has to be set in stone by June, and shovels would have to hit the ground early 2026.
So they see. I didn't read this part of the article. It says that the Haslam say they will be investing themselves $2 billion into the overall deal. That means overall deal also means $2 billion into the upkeep, the hotels, the entertainment, all that, etc. that they want to eventually do. And they're going to take responsibility for any cost that overruns on the stadium project. So they say, hey, we accidentally went over here 2,000. Eventually, all that stuff adds up anyways. They're promising to take care of that. Also, something that needs to be an impact factor here is they are promising thousands of jobs coming to Brook Park. Thousands. So that also helps. Much improved fan experience with a lowest. Now, a lot of the biggest argument is like, yeah, they're going to charge billions of dollars for these seats, but they're promising lowest and closest seats in the NFL. Like lowest lowest is
you're down on the field. Like,
yeah, you're going to be on the field. The way for those that don't know much about the stadium build and how they have this plan, look into it because their experience is going to be very fan friendly, where you're going to feel like you're on the field. Somehow they're going to build it that way. I don't know how. I'm not that smart to get into like architecture reasons of how it's going to happen, but they're promising that it's going to be one of the best experience and the lowest ticket experience because they know their fan base. They know they can't. This is not LA. They're not going to charge you to make you do 2,000 per seat, but 67. New York. Oh. Yeah, that's going to be expensive seat. 6,500 seat stadium, along with space for 2,500 standing room only fans and flexibility. So if you can't afford a seat, you can go in there and stand up, kind of like what the Dallas Cowboys do.
Yeah, and it's going to hold events with 7,000 to 75,000 people.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a nice stadium. I mean, if it eventually happens. Now I'm a little worried with all this talk of how it's going to be paid. So I was all confident before, maybe a couple months ago, but now I'm like,
50-50,
man,
man.
yeah. And I was like,
I'm not going to be upset either way, Angel. Honestly, like I know you don't like going down to Cleveland. Nobody really likes going down to Cleveland because of the crime and the traffic, the prices of things. It's kind of a, like you said earlier, like an emotional state that you got to prepare yourself to go down there.
yeah, especially those like have not, I guess social anxiety would be that. If you have social anxiety, you shouldn't really be going to the stadium. But those that want to go to the game but hate to be close to people, like my biggest issue is going in and coming out. Like you're like you brought up, like you went to a club seats one time. It was great because you have your own entrance and you're away from, you're not as cluttered. But those that can't afford club seats or can't get club seats, like you're hoarded into one area, coming in and coming out. And then traffic is insane, even going in, going out. I've done Uber. I've Ubered a couple of times, like on the Sundays, foolishly, and I drop people off. It's like it's a headache because roads are closed and got cops saying, "Turn around." And it's like it's annoying. Like so, they need. If they end up saying they need to develop a different traffic pattern down there and different ways to come in and come out to help with the congestion around the stadium for sure.
Amanda hates inner city driving, and I've had her drive us to like I think 2 or 3 of the games we went to this year. She just dropped us and the friends off, but she hates it. She can't stand it. The anxiety kicks in hard for her.
Yeah.
And if we go down there, she has social anxiety. If I get her drunk enough, she's cool. Like
she's
no
like, "What
problem.
people? I don't see people."
Right.
Yeah, that's the issue. I mean that's the issue overall with the stadium in general is the location. And they have years to work this out, and all of a sudden, like for me, the issue is for years you had opportunity to work this out. Now all of a sudden, the Haslams finally find land and show interest in being somewhere else, and all of a sudden now everyone's like, "Oh, we have to fix this. Let's fix this. Let's sit around the table and peaceful and let's think about this." Like, no, you had years to deal with this crap. Now all of a sudden you care enough to make this a situation of annoyance for these owners that just want an experience of a stadium, make it fun. Like going down to that stadium isn't the fun. It's like I encourage anyone who thinks the stadium is nice, which it is. Like we're grateful to even have a team after what they after what they did in '95. But
No.
yeah, so but I encourage you to go. I visited Dallas Cowboy Stadium. It's amazing. Like that's high up there. Lucas Oil Stadium is beautiful. I didn't even go inside. I just saw the outside. It's beautiful. But what they do there is amazing.
Ford Field.
Yeah, I actually want to visit Minnesota because I heard very good things about the Viking Stadium.
It's the same people that are building this stadium as the ones that built the Viking Stadium.
Yeah, and one thing one feature I like about they're talking about building in this stadium is how impactful the dog pound's going to be as far as noise, because somehow they're going to have that noise travel from the dog pound all the way to the other end zone. So when the team's on the going away from the dog pound, they're still going to hear the impact of the loud cheers that are from the dog pound. So, I mean, they have a lot of cool stuff going on there. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. Hopefully it happens. If not, like you said, I'm not going to riot or do a picket line and complain. But it just sucks that I think like we as fans deserve something fun to have, even if our team, and like the argument is like, well, our team needs to win first, right? Like, yeah, like we would love to have a winning team, but eventually, like your team's going to win, like, and that's going to get you excited. So then you approve this building to be built, and by the time it's built, if they move in, if they suck, well, you're going to like, hey, I want a refund of my taxes that went toward this thing. Like, it's not going to happen. Your team's not always going to win, is what I'm saying. So if you're going to go down to a stadium and you want to go pay the money to watch your team lose, don't you want it to do it in the best experience as possible? Especially for someone who has kids. Like I want to have a nice controlled climate area to where my kids can have fun, probably in more of a room area where I'm not squished next to somebody dumping beer on me because he's getting so excited or mad depending on the situation. So for me, it's like build something fun. So when I go watch a game, whether win or lose, I'm still going to leave saying, wow, that was a great experience.
I'm not going to lie. Those club seats that I had for that Ravens game I went to, those were amazing. It was a whole different concourse that you had. But back to the grind here. Haslam said that His family sees the Brook Park project as a long-term play. This facility would, excuse me, that they build would last 50 years. He said the enclosed stadium would be surrounded by development, apartments, offices, hotels, retail, restaurants, and 12 to 14,000 surface parking spaces. The mixed-use portion of this project would be estimated to cost of $1 billion, and that part would be privately funded. Can you imagine 12 to 14,000 parking spaces right at the stadium? You don't have to walk from the Muni lot.
No, nothing. And that's where people say, well, what the Muni lot's going to be? I mean, you have that big land, right? I'm pretty sure they're going to be smart enough to set up a smart Muni lot where everyone can park. It's going to be a designated area where everyone parks and just parties, right?
No, we're going to party at the Bob Evans on Snow Road.
Oh, yeah, that too. And speaking of the Bob Evans, they're going to be grateful enough to have you come there when the stadium is built. And there's a nice little restaurant over there. I know because I used to live there. I forgot the name of it, but they make amazing breakfast burritos. You can go there. About. Yeah. It's a small mom and pop shop. They will benefit from it. So listen to the impact that this stadium is going to build from those little small mom and pop shops. There's a little Dunkin' Donuts down there. I go every 4 o'clock in the morning when I start work. It's a nice little area that deserves this. They deserve it because it's beautiful. It can be a beautiful area. But yeah, I mean, that parking is amazing. That sounds great. A little Muni lot. Come on, man. I mean, I don't know why it's getting probably political at this point. And I'm sure if the Browns were winning, if they didn't have the season that they had last year and the whole Myles Garrett situation, I'm sure this would be a different tune. It wouldn't be as from a fan stand base. Maybe the politics, they still want their money from a political perspective. They're like, well, we still need to be paid somehow. Give me some more money under the table. Maybe it's something like that. But the fans wouldn't care because, again, it goes back to they're not winning enough. So if they were winning enough, then fans wouldn't care.
Maybe if we had better facilities, we'd win more.
Yeah, I mean, that would help, right? And that would help. And a lot of people's like, well, players don't want to come here. Well, maybe because they don't want to play in 10-degree weather. And I know fans like that. They like, oh, don't take the elements out the game. Well, some players don't like playing in 10 degrees. You hear what Jameis Winston said. He said, Cleveland had a perfect weather for like 3 weeks. You could go down and take pictures, et cetera, et cetera. And then he's like, after that, it just sucked. Like, think about that from someone who played in Florida, who played most of his career in Florida, coming here and not liking it. Yeah, it's cool having the Snow Bowl game, beating Pittsburgh in the snow. All that's great. But from a player perspective, if you had a dome, which controlled climate, and most people like playing in controlled climate anyway. So you have a faster offense, faster defense. You don't have to worry about all that horrible weather that people seem to love, which I don't understand. We always bring up it doesn't impact win or loses because we have a losing record since 99 anyways. So what's the point?
That's my biggest argument with that. The Cleveland weather helps us, and it clearly does not. If you look at the record at home,
it clearly does not.
It's bad. I think we've won about maybe 40% of games at home, maybe 35, somewhere in there. It doesn't help. And I do love snow from the comfort of my own home. Like right now, if it were snowing, I would love it because I'm not at work, but I work in it, so that's maybe why. I don't know. I don't want to go to a snow game again. Those are kind of crappy.
Yeah, same. I drive in it all the time. It's like, I don't want to be dealing with this crap. I don't want to be buttering. See, for me, that doesn't sound fun. Hey, let's go down to the stadium, drive, wait in traffic, and then walk in my parka and Carhartt outfit, walking like a stiff snowman because I'm so cold.
With a beer frozen to your lips.
Yeah, my beard's frozen. I can't even drink beer, pop. My kids can't even drink hot cocoa because it turns to cold milk by the time I hit the seats. That doesn't sound fun to me. It just doesn't. Now, maybe when I was 19, 20, maybe that sounded fun. But now that I'm 45, and by the way, most of my taxes are going to go to that anyways, I'll invest in that, sure. I mean, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I'll maybe after 50, 60 years, I'll be gone anyway. So let my kids pay for it. But so, yeah, I mean, that experience does not sound fun. Like, give me in a control area where I can park, and then you can shuttle me to a stadium, and then I can walk into a warm stadium, and I can just wear a hoodie and jeans and not have to layer up. I'm good with that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all they're lobbying officials to add 1% to the existing bed tax on hotel stays, and they're asking the county to create a county-wide rental car fee.
It's only 1%. 1% is not a lot of money. I mean, it's like 10 cents per $100. Come on. I mean, it's not. You won't even notice it. And by the way, things are moving up anyways. You're paying more in food anyways the last 4 years, and people aren't complaining about that. But yeah, you can complain about
people
1% because they ain't getting their eggs.
Yeah.
but either way,
some milk.
Yeah, either way, stop eating those eggs. Get a little protein shake in you. But no, yeah, but it's yeah, I mean it's only 1%. Like I know people are like 1%. Like how many people really stay in hotels around here anyway? It's like it's more than going to impact those that are coming in as opposed to that are living here. So that doesn't even impact you. So when I read that, I'm thinking like when I get a hotel, I'm thinking about a hotel in Florida. I'm not thinking about a hotel in Ohio.
Listen, like, I'll be completely content with that because, like I said, when I went to that Dallas game, there was white jerseys and they were Dallas jerseys,
and they will pay for it. Exactly. Yes. So people that come in to see the new stadium of the opposite team, let them pay for it because they're going to get the rental car because they have to find a way down there or they're going to get an Uber, whatever. Either way, they'll pay for it, not you. So let's stop complaining about the small things, man.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to leave LaGrange and go to Cleveland and get a hotel. I'll come back home.
Yeah, I mean you're close enough. You need help?
Yes, I need help.
No, my daughter, they have guinea pigs in these baskets, and they like carrying them around like they're their babies. Hold on a second.
You're good. Yeah, well, I mean, what do you guys think about the stadium? Would you like it to be in Cleveland still, or would you like it to be in Brook Park in a dome? I mean, yeah, James, we all need help. Oh, and in case anybody didn't hear the intro in the beginning, first and foremost, Sam is not on the show today. He's not feeling well. I think he had a bomb-ass Valentine's Day yesterday.
Yeah. And his wife bought him too much champagne.
He wasn't having it this morning. So, but that the new intro song is mine and Sam's band from about 7 years ago, and that's going to be our new intro. Hope you guys enjoyed that. But yeah.
Yeah, that intro was pretty good. Also, too, like behind the curtain, like every time we use a song, Facebook is like, "Hey, this is copyrighted. You're going to be sharing whatever revenue you make for this toward this band we've never even heard of." And one time we generated this ourselves. Obviously, they can dictate if it's an AI thing. So we're like, we were at that live at that your friend's bar, and you guys brought that up. I was like, yeah, let's use that. By that way, I mean, if anyone else is using that music, then it goes to their revenue of their song.
All 4 cents.
Yeah, all 4 cents of it.
All 1%.
Yeah, it's actually their song, so it's technically ours. So it's actually our intro. So I like it. I actually like it a lot, to be honest. James said, "Yeah, it's dope. I'll have to go back and listen to it. It's good. It's really good."
I had to take the vocals out of it just because of certain reasons, but I cannot wait for Facebook to be like, "Hey, copyright infringement, One Click Crazy, you're going to pay them." I'm like, "All right, where's the money going?"
Yeah, where's my money? Right. Show me the money. That
I can't wait to argue with them for
Mike's
that.
Mike's like, I'm looking to buy a house. I need every 4 cents possible, dog.
Like James says, 4 cents adds up.
It does, man. If 20 people are paying it 4 cents, that's 80 cents, man. 80 cents a day. Man, I'm about to do the math real quick. But yeah, so yeah, that intro is really good. Finally, we'll have that issue come. And what my biggest issue is like, they seem to limit stuff that is copyrighted. So hopefully more of our lives will be seen because of it. But that's just my conspiracy theory mind. Who cares if it's true or not?
Also, I'm sorry, real quick. If you guys want a beard like mine and Angel's and James, you can't see his, but he has some of our Beard Gains products. Check them out at beardgains.com. Use Bearded Browns for code at checkout for 10% off. And all the shipping after $35 is free. Free 99,
nothing.
I love about
getting in my you talked about the pristine scent, and I bought the oil like a couple weeks ago, and I'm out of the Valhalla, and I'm like, let me try this, and I put it on. I'm like, dang, this does smell low. It's more of a cologne. Like if you're going out for like dinner, and you don't want to put on cologne, but you want to smell good. So my wife at first, like she smelled the bottle. She said, "Oh, that's all right. I like the other one." But when I put it on, she was like, "Man, that smells really good. What are you wearing?" I'm like, "It's that beard oil." She didn't believe me. But I'm like, "No, seriously, smell it." She's like, "Wow, that smells better on than in the bottle."
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, it does. It's becoming slowly one of my favorites. So I'm going to have to probably order more of that. I actually got their soap. I haven't used it yet, but the soap here, the pristine soap,
Oh, I didn't
it
get the
smells
bar
really.
soap.
Oh, the bar soap. Let me tell you something about. We're about to do a sales pitch here. Hold on a second. If you have dry skin, like me, especially in the wintertime, use. Listen, this is no chemicals. This is goat milk or whatever animal milk they use. It's it's soft on the skin. This sound manly for a second here. Man with beard talking about soft skin. It's easy on the skin and it makes you smell good. There's no chemicals in it. You ain't walking out the shower with the soap residue on you. It's a great bar of soap. It smells good and it lasts long. So I have this pouch that I put it in and I use it, to wash my body instead of a rag. Which, by the way, you use a rag to wash your body?
Use a loofah.
Okay. Those that I was going to say something, I want to make sure you don't use a rag. If you use a rag to wash your body, it's a little weird. I'm going to be honest with you. So weird that if you use a rag that you wipe a towel with, down a table with to wash your body. I know maybe it's just me. I'm a loofah / they have this this thing that holds the bar of soap and makes it soapy, but
Yeah.
get away from that if you're a guy. Use a loofah. Sounds manlier. But yeah, their soap is good. Get their soap. Their oils are good. I got the balm. Every one of their products is amazing. So go there. Bearded Browns. Link Bearded Browns as the promotional link, and you'll save 10%. Like Mike said, $35 and over, you get free shipping, man. It's a
Made
win-win.
with goat milk?
Yeah, goat milk.
That's bad.
Bad. Bad.
All right.
Mike said, James said, I'm from the Dome. The new experience sounds awesome. Feeling like you're on the field has me sold, plus low ticket price. Now, when they say low ticket prices, what they don't mean is it's going to be the same ticket prices as what you see here, okay, when you go downtown. So a lot of people are thinking like, wow, I'm gonna get a good experience for what I don't know how much tickets are downtown. I haven't been in a long time, but it's going to be still the lowest around in the NFL for what they have to offer. So you have to look at LA. You're going to have to look at Minnesota. You're going to have to look at who else just built New York. Those that just built the dome, and their experience, and then see it's going to be lower than that. And I think the Haslams are smart enough to know their audience isn't that rich to be paying billions of dollars for tickets or P&Ls, whatever they call them, a year.
You also got to think like the Guardians tickets are going to be up this year because they made the playoffs. They're actually producing.
They're winning, yeah.
Right. So they're going to have to take that in consideration when they go through ticket sales, I'd imagine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's the thing too. If your team's winning, you're going to be paying more for the ticket anyway. So I would rather get in when they're losing, so the tickets are lower, and then you kind of, you're in there. And then when the teams are winning, they're slow. They do this every time. When they win, they slowly creep up ticket prices, and then they hold it when they lose, and then they slowly creep it up and then hold it.
Right.
That's why the Browns has been the lowest ticket in the league for years, because they can't justify raising their prices because the team was 0-16 and 1-15. I mean, it was insane to raise your ticket prices.
I think those club seat tickets that I had were about $150 a piece.
That's not bad, because most tickets, I mean, just for seats, like in nice stadiums, are $150, depending on how close you get.
James says, will people that have the season tickets be secured when they do the move? I would imagine, because there are plenty of
ticket holders
out there.
I think they might be first come. They might get the first bid for their P&L, I would assume. But if they're like stubborn, like, oh, I'm not paying my money, it's all right. We'll get someone else, because someone else will buy those tickets. Trust me.
There's a waiting list to even get season tickets. I mean, there's some available that open up yearly. Obviously, more have opened up this year because of the circumstances. But I believe that if you're already a season ticket holder, you're going to have a choice in what seat. Some might move to a different part of the stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk. We'll talk about Myles Garrett real quick. There's really no news on that other than he's still and going to be traded. Now, if you want to look at the salary cap ramifications that might happen, there are things that could happen with that, and one of them is like between March 14th and March 16th, he is due $5 million signing bonus. From what I'm reading and heard, that is a sign that if they give it to him, they're looking maybe to keep him this year, as opposed to trading him during the draft. Now, the problem with trading him during the draft, folks, is if you trade him during the draft, you're guaranteed to pay that money that you owe him this year, which is like 38.
34. I think I can't. I think it was
It's like
34.
34, between 34 and 36 or 38 million. If you trade him after the draft, you can separate that, basically cut it in half. Actually, I think it's like 14 this year and 20 something next year, and that guarantee money that you gave him. So from a business perspective, people are saying it don't look for them to trade him during this draft, but maybe next after June 1st, where they'll get 2026 and 2027 draft picks. A lot of people kind of argue with me on that, saying do it this year, which I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to pay him guaranteed, and then I just don't feel the draft. There's a lot of draft parts that you can get this year as far as deep, like running back, defensive line, like that. If you want a lot of those pieces, sure. But for me, if you don't get a quarterback this draft, you would want to accumulate picks for next year. So if you have a quarterback you like, you can move up closer. That's an argument I heard on a podcast, which makes sense to me.
I forgot he restructured. So this year he got 19 mil, 722,000. 2026 he'll get 20 mil, which also puts us at a cap hit of 36 mil, 216,580. Okay. So yeah, we talked about it on Tuesday. I am not completely against Miles going, considering that there are some solid edge rushers in the draft that we get younger and cheaper. Don't get me wrong when I say that. I love Miles. Everybody loves Miles. He's an elite player. He always will be. He's already a Hall of Famer, and you just got to take one for the team, I guess. And hopefully Andrew Berry makes the right decision. I'd like to see him here again to at least finish his contract in 2027 when he becomes an undrafted free agent. Man.
Yeah, technically the Browns have him for 4 more years if you think about it, because they have the 2-year and then they could put 2
void years.
Yeah, they have 2 years, and then they could put that name escapes me when you can when you're having trouble signing a person, and then you can put
restricted free agent.
Yeah, no, I forgot the name, but you why is it? I just had that in my head. It just slipped my mind when I tried to say it. But you basically you make them like the highest paid edge rusher at that time for 1 year, and they can do that back-to-back years. They do that for quarterbacks every year. They don't know how to sign. Exactly.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you can't think of the name, but they can do that for him for 4 years and keep him 4 years. But why would you want to do that? My fear is that if you do that, Miles, who has been playing through injury because he wants to win, thinking he can win, now has no motivation to play because he doesn't want to play for you. So if he's hurting his leg is hurting, he's going to be like, yeah, I need to be out for a couple weeks.
Right.
So that's my fear about that.
And like I said, you can get those 2. You can get even 1. You can get 1 and pick somebody up in a free agency maybe that we could have on both sides. That would be good.
Yeah.
There's a lot to look forward to in the draft and the free agency and tradings.
I've seen a lot of people saying that you probably could get 2 1s for him. That'd probably be max. But I'll take 2 1s from him.
Yeah, but you also got to think of what team you're going to send them to, say the Lions, and they're picking 28th. So if you send them there, you're going to get the first round this year, the 28th, and then next year, whatever they're going to be a higher draft team or lower, I guess. But.
See, I get the argument on that, but I don't. I guess if you're a good draft, like obviously you can't apply this to Barry right now, but if you're a good drafter, who cares if you get your high first round pick from yourself or wherever your team is, but you're basically accumulating a top 4 or 5 picks of the top 30 players in the draft. I think you do that regardless of where you pick at. Like if you pick 12th and then 32, I mean, you're getting top 2 picks on your board in 32 players. So
right.
I'm okay with that. I don't care how close it is to the first. Maybe my mindset's different than most people, which I get why you want to get as close to the top as possible. But it's not where you pick, it's who you pick, right? So like we see it here all the time. Like we've always for years we picked the wrong player. Like, well, we should have drafted that receiver as opposed to this receiver who went two picks after what we got. Like St. Brown. I think we picked Tillman as opposed to St. Brown. Like again, it's not where you pick, it's who you pick. And so if we have if Barry can get smart as far as who he picks, I don't care where he picks at as long as he picks the right player.
Speaking of picks, man, you guys, for your first pick, should pick Doug White over at Allstate Insurance Agency.
If you need insurance,
give them a call, 440-235-8500. They're located at 8020 Columbia Road in beautiful Olmsted Falls. Man, I like how I did that.
Yes, good segue. But yeah, that's where we're. That's where we're going to be at till what, March with him, unless they trade him earlier. But I don't see them doing that. They don't have a reason to trade him because they own his rights. Like they're not going to be rushing unless a team gives him a huge offer. But is the team going to overpay for a 29-year-old pass rusher?
Yeah.
You know. And you probably will get a team like Buffalo, a team like Detroit, a team in the bottom 25 to get him, and you're going to have to be okay with that and hope that you pick right or use that pick into 2026 to move up closer to get a quarterback that you want if you don't get one this year.
Both Ken and James said they both said we picked Schwartz over.
Schwartz. That's who it was. Yeah. So that's what I mean. It's not like
horrible.
Like we can all look at the drafts from previous years and be like hindsight. Like no one thought St. Brown was going to be good, but there's that scout that was going in Detroit at the time was like the St. Brown kid's going to be a sleeper, and they trusted him enough to see that. So we need to, and I don't know why it's still trying. Even when they drafted Schwartz, I'm like, this dude's small. Like
we need to find a diamond in the rough. And also, what happens is he can only be so good with a good quarterback. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Jared Goff, pretty damn solid when he's not throwing interceptions. But again, that goes to show a team that could throw 5 interceptions in one game and still win a game is ridiculous, man.
And that's rarity. You're rarely going to have that, but it's good to have that just in case in your back pocket, right? So I know I've seen a lot of I don't know. Here's my issue. I don't know if there is a wrong pick this draft to pick. Like a lot of people's like, you have to pick a quarterback, and they're right. You have to, but then you go, well, you need Abdul Carter, and you're right. You do need Abdul Carter, and they're like, well, no, you get Travis Hunter because he's the best talent on the draft. You're right. Like, so like, I feel bad for Barry because regardless of what he's going to do, even if it's the right one, you can still argue it's the wrong one. Right. Like a lot of people are dead set on a quarterback. And I think I think even Chad says like, I'm not 100% sold on the quarterback yet. Like I, to be honest with you, I love Mason Graham. I think they should go with Mason Graham. If you see what the Eagles done, now I'm not comparing Mason Graham to Jalen Carter, but that's how it starts, right? Carter from Philadelphia, their defensive tackle in the middle.
Yeah.
So the Eagles build their forefront with draft picks, right? Most of them for Georgia, but they established their rush game with just their 4, and it's amazing to see that stat that they didn't pressure anyone else other than the 4 all against Kansas City, and they dropped everybody back and made it confusing for Patty. Now everyone's going to mimic that, so I think you should apply it. You get the best draft defensive tackle, get Mason Graham. You have Mike Hall that can be next to him. He showed some improvement, and a lot of people aren't talking about McGuire. McGuire had a pretty good season toward the end when he was stopping the run. Right. So, and then, like you say, you can find someone else in free agency on the edge. Maybe that's your answer. And then you can build your defense from there.
Just like James Frank says, he's going to get all the hate from all angles, no matter who he picks.
I agree.
We just have to pray who gets some balls out. But yeah, that's exactly right. Cleveland fans, no matter what, are not going to be happy until winning is proven.
Yeah, true.
So, yep. Go out there, Browns. You know what you need to do. Win. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
It's easy, right?
It sounds easier than done, man. It's frustrating, but um, it is what it is, man. I know they need a quarterback and they need to find a quarterback somehow, but I'm not 100% sold on like as other people are on Shador or Ward yet. There are pluses to their game for sure. No, Shador, I love his
Hi, Caroline.
accuracy.
Sorry.
I know you're good. I love all those people. You know what I mean? I get it, but I think that if they do go opposite of the quarterback with the first pick, people need to be not riots. That's all.
Honestly, if you had to pick right now, you're gonna bridge a guy or you're gonna draft a guy and play that guy.
Yeah. Ken said, pick a quarterback, build an offensive unit like Philly, trade for DK, like trade of DK, pair with Judy, and draft Hamilton.
Hampton.
Trade for DK. DK Metcalf. Yeah, I can. That would be a good. That would be a good plan that I can get behind. If they can draft a quarterback and add more weapons and fix the offensive line, I could get behind that.
But what quarterback you can have throwing at him?
If you have DK Metcalf and you have Jerry Judy, I think you would need a Ward who has a bigger arm. Even though I like Shador's accuracy better, but I'm assuming. I'm just be honest with you. I think Shador fits. I've been saying this for weeks. I think Shador fits Kevin's system better. But that's just me looking at Kevin's system. Like I'm not even thinking about Reese and what he can apply to what Kevin can do. So if Reese can think of a system to help Ward benefit Ward, I love Ward. But my fear is like he doesn't play within structure as well as Shador can. So I would be terrified of bringing Ward in here and be like, this is your system, and he can't adjust like Watson did. Or doesn't, well, not that he doesn't want to, but he can because Watson had the, hey, I played this way for 4 years and I was successful mentality. Ward would have to come in. Now, I'm not saying Ward's not smart enough because I hear him talk and I think like, man, this dude is a leader. This dude's like, hey, Browns, if you want to win a Super Bowl, New York, you want to pick me, pick me. I like that moxie and that attitude. I'm just
Yeah.
worried. I'm just worried about
Aaron,
him
I'll send the
adjusting.
link right now. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. He Ken agreed with you that you need a bridge quarterback for sure.
Yeah, I really do agree with that. I think it'll be better because we're going to draft a quarterback. That goes without saying. We're going to draft somebody. Who it is, I don't know. But let me see. Hold on. That's not going to send. Oh, there we go. Definitely need a quarterback. I would like to bridge somebody, bring them in here, let them learn the league for a year. I definitely would say Cam Ward or Shador. I don't like the ego thing at all. I'm not about that again. I don't want that to happen again. I don't want to deal with Deion Sanders. I just don't, man. I'm not ready for more drama
And that's the risk that you get with Shador. The dad might say, Deion might be like, oh, I'm not going to interrupt, but like, there's a risk that you will, so you tweeting and saying stuff on, you basically pouring fuel to a fire of a fan base that is emotional anyways, just will make it worse.
I think Cam Ward could learn more at training camp, especially if Kevin Stefanski really puts the time in with him. And our quarterback coach now that we have one of those, I think it's going to be crucial for that guy and Kevin to get together and figure out what quarterback we're going to get, that we're going to draft, that would fit best with this scheme that we're running. Also, offensive line. You've seen the differences in the offensive line this year, which we've had an elite offensive line, but now we switched everything this year and it goes to crap again.
Do you think if we switch everything back to what they excel at as far as their talents, you think it would be better than what it was last year?
I think so, yeah.
I do think you need to get younger, but a lot of people, every time I do a mock draft and I don't include an offensive lineman, like people are like dogging me about it. Cause my thinking is like, you can offensive lineman in free agency, right? You get depth in free agency. But I do think, maybe this is me being foolish, that our offensive line will be good if they go back to the scheme in which 2 years ago was because that's what they excel at. That's what they said it. They're like, we suck at the scheme that we had this year. We need to go back to the run game first, wide zone. Yeah, even Ken agrees with G's like I like Shador. My hesitation is his dad. Ward is a better prospect. So Ward has bigger upside. So according to scouts, this is not me. I don't watch too much tape like a lot of people do, but they say Ward has a lot more ceiling. Shador's ceiling seems to be what he is, maybe a little higher than what it is now. The benefit of Shador, though, and I say this, and now people are like, why do you keep on ringing this bell? You can't teach accuracy. You just can't. A quarterback can have a big arm, but if you can't hit the target, you can't teach that. Lamar he's better at that over the years, but look how long it's taken him to get there. Here in Cleveland, they won't be patient enough for a quarterback to do that. But his accuracy is amazing, especially downfield. We had the stats. Maybe we'll talk about it when we bring it up next time. Mike sent me some stats from was it Arland?
Our lads.
Yeah, our lads did a comp between those two, the pluses and minuses, and Shador's accuracy downfield is just 90-something%. It's amazing. Now a lot of people are like, well, a lot of arguments, and we'll close here. A lot of arguments is Shador Sanders competition was low. Argument is valid, but those same people want Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen played in the same type of competition in North Dakota as you would compare Shador to, and it didn't bother Josh Allen at all. He adjusted well to the game. He had some interception issues, but he seems to be getting better at that because he got rid of Ken Dorsey. But so that's that. I mean, there's a lot of arguments for here and there with them.
You also, again, toughness. I can't talk, dude. Toughness of schedule when looking at a quarterback is another key ingredient. I think that would have to be focused on a lot. What are they? SEC? What are they?
They're we just talked about that. They moved Buffalo. I'll look it up. Yeah, they moved this year. Buffalo.
I don't think they are SEC. I can't remember.
Is it ACC?
It might be, but like their schedule this year coming up, they play Georgia Tech, Delaware, Houston, Wyoming, BYU, TCU, Iowa State, Utah, Arizona, West Virginia, Arizona State, Kansas State, Big 12.
Oh, yeah, Big 12. That's what it is, yeah. Yeah, Big 12. I mean, it isn't what it used to be.
After seeing all those schools, I'm like, wait, Big 12.
Yeah, it's definitely a Big 12. Yeah, Big 12. Yeah, I mean, but you play who you play. Like,
I get that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, my argument is like they sucked for years, and Deion goes there with his son, and now they're a winning college football team. Now, their talent isn't as good as the typical NCAA team, right? So they're getting a lot of transfers, a lot of portal people. So if you add Shador to a better talent, now you do have to argue, well, there's a better talent on defense, or he might digress, which is true. I'd be happy. I don't think Ward's going to fall to us. I think he might go number one. So I'm prepared mentally. It's either Ward or Sanders or defensive player or something like that.
Yeah. James says the closer we get to the draft, I'm hoping that we get Shador. I think he's got a lot to prove in his own that he's his own person. I think he's mature enough to do that. At the end of the day, his dad is going to want nothing but success for his kid. And yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Ken says, so Shader, I think he meant to say Shador, is a combo of Cousins and Burrow. He is more athletic version of the two with an arm between them and not the elite processing of Burrow.
My thinking is, can you develop an elite processor? Can someone develop that over time? Right. So his biggest knock is like he holds the ball too much, which is true. And they call him a drifter, where he drifts back as opposed to throwing the ball away. And that's why he took some of his sacks last year were because of that. So that's why it's like if you end that statement with like he's a combo of Cousins and Burrow, and you stop there, most fans would be like, "Oh, I'll take him," right? Because Cousins has won, and people love Joe Burrow. right? Outside of his injuries, he's good. He's great, right? He went to the freaking Super Bowl. But then you have to add his processing into it. Then you're like, okay, well, if he can't process quick, then he can't read a defense. That means he's hesitating downfield, especially a faster guy as opposed to college. Is NFL, like we always say, is a lot quicker than college. So yeah, it's going to be great. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be a hell of a year coming up. I know that. And I usually get this like angst that I'm like, dude, man, we got this to look forward to. I really don't know if I can have that this year until maybe after the draft. And hopefully we can find some diamonds in the rough. Man, we've seen it in numerous years with other teams. People getting picked in the 4th, 5th, 6th, sometimes even 7th round and becoming
stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if we look at the teams across like LA, they can find a 4th, 5th receiver, Cooper Kupp, Nakua. I mean, that's what we need. And I know it's like they're like, well, you can't do that. Yeah, but can we do that at least 1 year? Like I know we can't do that every year, but I'll be happy with like 1 year where we find this like you call them a diamond in the rough, where we're like happy, like, oh, we got a 5th round pick, and this dude's 1,000-yard receiver and or catcher, or even a quarterback at that point, you know. Ken said his understanding is Kevin's offense does the processing for you, which I would agree to that. This is why, like, if we draft Shador, like, you have to understand, like, Kevin's offense is quarterback friendly, where he purposely he tells you, okay, so here's the play. If X is not open, Y will be open, or Z will be open. Give it to him. If not, throw it away. That's your processing, or we're going to hand it off, whatever. So I think Shador is smart enough to get it. My worry, again, is what you and Ken said. When his son doesn't get it as quick, is it going to be ruined by his dad saying, hey, it's the team's fault, not my son's fault?
And that's going to bring down the morale of the entire team.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, yeah. I think we're all done here. We're done.
Yeah, we're going to end the show. Join us Tuesday live at 7:30. We're going to have a lot to talk about. That day, we're going to go over the 29 Cleveland Browns free agents. Say if we keep them, let them go, trade them, whatever. I mean, there's going to be a lot of talk. The overall roster, franchise tags, team needs, salary cap casualty candidates. We're going to talk about it all Tuesday. Be sure to join us at 7:30 p.m. unless I work late because the weather is going to be crap. So,
poop.
Yes.
Also, Ken, I do like Hamilton coming out of the draft from University of North Carolina Tar Heels. Guys, watch him. I've been using him in my mock drafts, and people are questioning that pick, but he's pretty solid.
Not only
look
that,
at the tape.
Guys, look at the quarterback rankings right now. You'll see not just Shador and Cam. Everybody's moving
everywhere.
Up and down.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Keep an eye on that. Just keep an eye on it. You'll see. But yes, well, until then, we'll see you Tuesday. And Angel,